Welcome back to Missions Monday. Last time we looked at Abraham and how Abraham tells us that God had a heart for the nations. And now today we're going to look a little bit more through the Old Testament, starting in Exodus, and then we're going to go up through the Psalms and to look for God's heart for the nations. So our first stop today is going to be in Exodus. Exodus chapter 12, beginning at verses 48 and going through 49. Now, in this chapter, Moses is talking about the Passover. And in verses 48 and 49, we read, "But if a stranger sojourns with you and celebrates the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near to celebrate it. And he shall be like a native of the land. But no uncircumcised person may eat of it. The same law shall apply to the native as to the stranger who sojourns among you." Essentially, what God is saying to his people through Moses is that he plans on people outside of ethnic Jews becoming part of the people of faith, becoming part of the covenant community. There will be strangers, there will be others who come along and who are going to be celebrating the Passover along with you, celebrating God's great work of deliverance. And here's what to do when that happens. I think that's really important, that we see there God planned ahead for those people who are not born Jews, but become Jews of the heart. The next passage that we are going to look at is from Joshua. Joshua chapter 4, verses 23 through 24. "For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you had crossed, just as the Lord your God had done to the Red Sea, which he dried up before us until he had crossed, that all the peoples may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, so that you may fear the Lord your God forever." Here, this crossing of, as he mentions, the Red Sea, but the crossing of the Jordan as well. Here in this, we see that God's purposes are that all the earth might know that his hand is mighty. That, to me, sounds like God has a plan for the nations. Now, you may want to argue as to whether you think that he's trying to show that he is a God who judges or not, but I believe he's trying to show his character. He's trying to show that he is mighty. And just as the Israelites are to fear the Lord, I believe that what God wants to do, or what is trying to do with this, is he's saying the nations need to fear me as well. Now let's take a dive into the Psalms, shall we? Just a few for today. Just a few of the Psalms. We're going to begin with Psalm 46, verses 10 and 11. "Cease striving and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold." Where is God to be exalted? Not just among Israel, but among the nations. I think that's very important. How about Psalm 67? The whole thing, really. The first verse is really familiar. God be gracious to us and bless us and cause his face to shine upon us. Selah. That thy way may be known on the earth, thy salvation among the nations. Let the peoples praise thee, O God. Let all the peoples praise thee. Let the nations be glad and sing for joy. For you will judge the peoples with uprightness and guide the nations on the earth, Selah. Let the peoples praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. The earth has yielded its produce. God, our God, blesses us. God blesses us. That all the ends of the earth may fear him. In those last few verses, we get a little hint of the Abrahamic covenant that God was going to bless the nations through blessing Abraham. But we see over and over in this psalm these references to the nations and the peoples. In God's inspired word, the psalmist is saying, let everybody know you, no matter where they are or where they are from. God's heart for the nations. How about Psalm 86? Psalm 86, verses 8 and 9. There is no one like thee among the gods, O Lord, nor are there any works like thine. All nations whom you have made shall come and worship before you, O Lord, and they shall glorify your name. All the nations coming before God, giving him praise and glory. That's David's heart as well as God's heart. Well, one more. Psalm 96, we're going to do verses 1 through 4, and then verse 7. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Proclaim good tidings of his salvation from day to day. Tell of his glory among the nations, his wonderful deeds among all the peoples. For great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. Verse 7. Ascribe to the Lord, O families of the peoples. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Again, in verse 7, I hear echoes of the Abrahamic covenant, of families of the peoples. How he promises to bless all the peoples, all the families of the earth. So that's just a little bit today of our Old Testament survey of God's heart for the nations. I hope you're beginning to see that God does have a heart for the nations, that he's always had a heart for the nations. Now, what I want to do next, and I'm going to try to make this a regular feature, is I want to introduce you to a prayer tool that's going to help you to pray for the nations. Today, it's joshuaproject.net. This is joshuaproject.net. Joshua Project is a great source for praying for the world. You can see the map there. Over here are the reachedness of different types of people groups, the unreached, all the way up to the very reached. The map in the middle is interactive, as you can see, and you can go through and look at the different countries, and then you can click on a country. There we're clicking on Nepal, and when you click on the country, it brings you up all sorts of information like the number of people groups, the progress level in terms of being reached, major religion, and then it lists all of the different people groups within Nepal, the percentage of their reachness, their religion, Think even says the language that they speak. Again, a very valuable resource. Under the prayer, there you can get the tool of the unreached people group of the day. You can even get widgets and things like that through there. They have various prayer guides that you can get. They have prayer calendars that you can download to help you to pray. They even have prayer videos. Prayercast is a big thing where you can learn about different parts of the world, different people groups. Here I clicked the one on world religions. And so you can learn how to pray for people who are within those specific kinds of religions around the world. Again, this is Joshua Project. We're now over on the Prayercast, but these are great tools for you to develop your prayer life. Thanks for watching today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I want to remind you to like, share, and subscribe. For more information about my ministry as a missionary at large and with Westminster Biblical Missions, you can check out my website at missionaryatlarge.webs.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Howard Sloan Missionary at Large, or on YouTube if you haven't found me there already, Howard Sloan Missionary at Large. For more information about Westminster Biblical Missions or to donate, please go to wbminc.org and you can click on the donate button. Please use the general fund to donate.